What I want to do in this video is share with you a quick update on a campaign that we launched about 3 weeks ago and give you some insight into how we operate, the tools that we use, and really the outcomes we can drive. So I'm going to start with, there's a really good discussion going on in the marketplace, really smart people talking about two things. Well, a lot of things, but in this case, two things. One is website visitor resolution. So people that go to your asset or your website, knowing who they are, regardless of where they came from, whether they came from your direct marketing efforts or not. Very important, we do that. On the other end, you've got people talking about dark social, dark channels, where you don't know who these people are. You don't know where they're consuming the information. It could be a podcast, could be a YouTube video, could be a event, could be a use group, could be just a referral. You don't know anything about those conversations because you're not driving it and you're not direct marketing to those folks. And that's a great strategy as well. You want that. If you can hit your numbers with dark social and they end up on your asset, you can resolve it, put them into a follow-up flow and close business, and you're hitting your numbers, you're good. In the middle of all that, when it comes to getting to market and getting immediate gratification at scale, outbound still wins the day, but you got to do it right. You got to have a great message. You got to have relevance. You've got to have an engine that will actually deliver the message and get it into the inbox. If it's email, great callers that can have a great conversation. So you've got outbound email, outbound calling, one-to-one social, SMS, direct mail, those types of things. And then in the case of the KPInetwork.com, you've got digital ads that resolve to the individual prospect. For this particular campaign, in the last week, we've had 2,700 visits. That's about 2,500 unique contacts that have engaged in the assets that we've put out there. Now, how they got there, most of it's direct. It's email or digital ads, because when somebody clicks on our digital ad and goes to the asset, we know who they are because they're part of the KPI network. We have their device IDs, all that kind of stuff. Then you've got referrals. Most of those are coming from the KPInetwork.com. And then finally, you got organic. Our system is set up with 36,000 unique local markets, and we're optimizing search in those markets. So we've already got 18 people that have visited our asset. So that's great. How many have gotten there in the last 3 weeks? Let's check that out. Let's go in the last 30 days. Okay, about 7,000 total visitors, 7,600 visits, mostly direct, some organic, and again, referrals, mostly from the KPI network. So let's get into this campaign launched 3 weeks ago. First and foremost, we call it build. That's building out the data assets, the target prospects. And of course, we have the KPI network to pull from, but we also pull from several different sources to get to the point where we have the right industries, organization size. We'll use third-party intent to help with the initial kickoff. Are they looking for, in this case, artificial intelligence? Do they have the right tech stack? Anybody that's got some of these higher points, if they already have these things, it's a great prospect for this particular campaign. And then have they hired and or are they hiring AI roles within their organization? And then finally, titles, personas. So we build out that list. In this particular case, we had tens of thousands of organizations and hundreds of thousands of contacts to go after, but we reduced it down to the most relevant based on this point system. Got it down to about 60,000 contacts, about 10,000 companies. So this is how we simplify the view of the KPI network. Level 5s are people that have actually subscribed and filled out a profile, gave us what they're looking for, what their tech stack is, validated versus a third party. Then you've got converted. These are people that have actually went to our assets, taken offers from us before. They know who the KPI network is. And of course, our clients are getting those leads. Then you've got millions of people that are out there right now rooting around our assets and giving us direct signals, if you will, of what they're interested in. And as long as they fit the criteria for the target persona for our clients, these are the first prospects we put into a target list. Then, of course, we, like everybody else, are going out to the big names and even some names that aren't on here to find contacts to feed in. Typically not in client-based campaigns. We're typically feeding them into the KPI network type surveys and polls and getting them to validate and vet themselves first before we ever put them into a client campaign. So that's build. And there's a video out there on how we do the build that I encourage you to look at if you want some more detail on how we go about that. This is a list of all the people that have actually visited the asset. Again, there's about 7,000 of these tracking their time on the asset. We're tracking how many times they went back to it. Right now, this is just a very simple lander. Here's an example of a manufacturing company focused lander for this particular AI project. We're trying to get leads for partners, meetings that get set and run. And we're highlighting predictive maintenance in a manufacturing company, real-time defect detection, and new product development. We have 10 primary industries, so a dynamic lander for each one of those industries that talks to the business outcomes that this particular client is driving for them. So when you take a look at one of the leads, here's an example. Digital information chief and officer went to the asset, spent a little time, and this is where you can get a sense for the messaging. This was an email that was sent out. You can modernize, futurize your business, particularly if you're running the following technologies, which we know they're running, even down to COBOL. Older technology can be modernized to be used in today's AI platforms. And here's some example organizations that match what their industry is and how it helps them to drive an outcome, develop new products, predict maintenance, detect defects in real time. This grayed out section here is some spin tax that we put in, and then they click on the link and they end up going to a page like this. Then you've got another lead here. Did not come from an email, otherwise it would show up in the timeline here. This one came from an ad. They go to the asset, they went to it twice, once for 28 minutes, and as you can see again, from the asset, there's videos on here. They probably took some time to look at those videos. If I go into the back-end log, I can see that. Now let's look at some meetings that have been run. So keep in mind, this is enterprise. What we see with enterprise is they typically don't click on the link and then click the Let's Talk button and fill out the form. They respond back to the email. They say, sounds interesting. I'd like to learn more. Then we do outbound calling, outbound emailing, reach out to them via social, whatever it takes to get them on the calendar. A few of these actually did fill out the form. That's great. A few more came directly from outreach to qualified members of the KPI network. Most of them have come from gauging the signals, their time on the asset, moving them into an outbound queue, making sure we have directs and mobile so we can have a high connection rate, and having a great conversation with them to get them to commit to a meeting. So this is enterprise. In some cases, we've got SMB campaigns where we send them straight to an affiliate link and they're buying on the spot. We like that flow. But you can see by some of these titles in the enterprise, this approach is getting us VP level, CISO, some managers, global heads, good-sized companies, and most importantly, all of them matching the ICP for the client. Again, we're 3 weeks out of the chute. Wanted to share some of the success, give you a sense for the platform we're using that we developed, how we build out the target data set using our own first-party data, reach out to them, attract them to the assets, gauge that attraction, and then move them into conversion campaigns where we get them to sign up for the appointments, or in some cases, like I said, move on to the affiliate link and just go ahead and buy in a SaaS world. If it seems like it might complement what your go-to-market is, I'd love to talk to you. That's it. Thank you. Have a great day.